than we realize, and most people will suffer with it at some point in their lives, even if they don't actually realize that that is what they're suffering from. Hi, I'm Tash and welcome back, or welcome to The Loving Lifestyle, a channel dedicated to helping lost graduates feel at home within themselves and create a life they truly desire. Today's video is about journaling for anxiety. I live with anxiety. I've had it for as long as I can remember, although I only sought help around 3 years ago. I manage my anxiety myself, and over the last year or so of being on this self-development journey, I've got a much better understanding and handle on it than I ever had before. But it is something that I have to monitor and pay attention to, otherwise I can spiral when triggered. And I've learned that if I don't look after my mental health through activities like meditating and journaling and spending time outdoors, exercising, chatting to friends, and working on my mindset, then it can take me by surprise when I get panicked, because sometimes I even forget that my anxiety even exists if I'm going through a really great patch, and then bam, something happens and I'm crying on the bathroom floor because someone's tone of voice was slightly off. So making sure that you keep up these kind of self-care practices is so important. Not just if you struggle with anxiety, but just for living a good life in general. If you suffer with anxiety or you think you have it but you're not sure, then I definitely recommend that you go to see a doctor. It can be a little useless sometimes, especially with mental health issues, but it is getting better, especially if you ask for a younger doctor, or if you tell the receptionist on the phone that it's mental health related, then they might be able to refer you to someone who has a little more experience in that area. Don't feel like you need to underplay your anxiety. No one can force you to go on medication if you don't want to. And don't feel like you need to overplay it to be taken seriously either. General anxiety disorder is way more common than we realize, and most people will suffer with it at some point in their lives, even if they don't actually realize that that is what they're suffering from. The conversation around mental health is so hushed that you may feel like you're totally alone in feeling this way, or even that it's probably normal because no one else talks about it, so like it must be normal, or that you don't deserve help if it's not that bad. You deserve an anxiety-free life. You deserve to feel happy and collected and calm every single day. And if you don't feel that way, then you deserve help. Literally everybody in the world would benefit from some form of therapy. Just having a judgment-free space to express yourself is so powerful in helping people work through issues and events in life. So yes, if you want to look into professional options, then I will leave a few links down in the description box down below. You don't have to go through your GP if you don't want to. There are plenty of online well-being services, and also you don't have to be referred in order to get professional help. You can go privately, and there is even an online therapy service called BetterHelp, which has been making waves in destigmatizing therapy too. There are options out there and available to you. Please don't suffer alone. Okay, now into the journaling. I've made you a lovely journal prompt worksheet, which I've attached in the description box below. So grab that either now and journal alongside the video by pressing pause after each prompt, or take some time at the end to work through some of these questions. The first few prompts are identifying the emotion and the trigger. When I refer to trigger, by the way, I don't mean necessarily a big trauma trigger. We can be triggered by tiny things. It's just a word that describes when we have a reaction to something that we weren't expecting. So it doesn't have to be something massive. When I say trigger, it could literally be the tone of someone's voice, or a small event, or maybe you dropped something. Like, it can be something really small, but it triggers an emotion in you because of something you've been through before, and that's what that word means. So yes, whilst often we do see things like trigger warning on very big and important and serious posts, triggers don't just refer to those. They can also be far more subtle. The next set of questions are about uncovering where that anxiety has come from and what conclusions we've come to about the event. And the final set are about recovering and adjusting our coping mechanisms so that we can try to avoid spiraling again in the future. Although I have to say, there is nothing wrong with spiraling. There is nothing wrong with having an anxiety attack of some kind, other than the fact that it sucks because you don't want to feel that way. It's not something bad to do with you. We don't need to get rid of it entirely because something negative and bad and we don't want it. We just want to try to work through it and cope better with it in the future so that we can live a better life for ourselves. So I've only got a few questions in this video because I didn't want to overwhelm you with a ton of journal prompts. And these are just some of the questions that help me. Firstly, how do I feel? What triggered this feeling? How does my anxiety feel in my body? Is this a regular trigger for me? The second set. What story am I telling myself? Is this true? Can I uncover where this story came from? Is there a more expansive explanation of the event? And the final set. What have I been suppressing recently? What self-care activities have I been putting off? What can I do right now to make myself feel better? What should I take from this event to help me cope better in the future? I hope that you found these journal prompts useful and you feel more capable to work through and cope with your anxiety triggers. Self-therapy through journaling has been super valuable to me, as I hope it was for you. As I said at the beginning, journaling is not a substitute for professional help. So please, if you are struggling, reach out to someone close to you and check out some of the resources that I've linked in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I just want to say that living with anxiety can feel super lonely and debilitating at times. But you are a warrior, you are strong, and please don't feel like you are alone. Literally millions of people all over the world live with anxiety, and from my experience, the more open I am with people, the more they open up to me, and I realize that I am not alone after all. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next week or over on my Instagram at @the.lovinglifestyle.